November 5th, 2022, that was the last time the Bulls were an above 500 team, which is honestly pretty sad and embarrassing to even say, especially given the expectations of the Bulls the last couple of seasons compared to the expectations for this season. But the Bulls, after nearly 2 years, are now above 500 in an impressive win at home over the Orlando Magic in a 20-point comeback effort. Look, man, I know it's still early. I know it's only a 5-game sample size of this team, and this team may not be able to sustain this, but I absolutely love what I'm seeing out there thus far. And that's really on both ends of the floor, because even though the Bulls are not a good defensive team, they at least give effort on that end of the floor. And they withheld a Magic team to just 12 points in the fourth quarter, 37 points in the second half alone. Might have been sloppy at times, but they pushed, clawed, and held their own against a young Magic, up-and-coming Magic team, and they did so with their grit and effort on defense and keeping up the pace on offense, and I'm here to talk about it. But first, a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, Factor. Now, I don't know about you guys, but now that I've got kids heading off to school, I've got my regular full-time job, and then, of course, I have the channel that I try to keep up with consistently for you guys. There's a lot to juggle, and my biggest challenge has always been finding the time to make and prepare meals while also maintaining a healthy diet. Well, Factor has been a lifesaver for me. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever before by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. This fall, you've got a lot going on outside of the kitchen. Keep your plans and turn to Factor. They deliver fresh, nutritious, chef-prepared meals ready to eat in just 2 minutes. And there's actually more to Factor than just lunches and dinners. From easy breakfasts and smoothies to midnight snacks, Factor has over 60-plus add-ons to keep you fueled and focused 24/7. And with a plethora of flavors, you will never get bored. If you're looking to save some time and still eat healthy, head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use the code BULLCENTRAL50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code BULLCENTRAL50 at Factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month's orders. Let me know what meals you guys end up going with. I've got some personal favorites of my own, and thanks again to Factor for sponsoring this video. Now, Orlando Magic fans do not like me. This is a fairly known thing if you've been following my channel dating back to last season, so a win like this is extra special to me. But aside from it being against the Magic, I mean, yet again, another comeback win against a playoff caliber team, and even doing so in a very off night from their top scorer in Zach LaVine. Look, most people had the Bulls going 0-5 to start this season. Even I myself thought the Bulls would have a rough start to the year because those first 5 games were all against playoff teams. Even though the Grizzlies weren't a playoff team last year, the expectation is that they would be, with the return of Ja and everyone else back and healthy again, that they would be a playoff team. But 5 games to start the year against the Pelicans, Bucks, Thunder, Grizzlies, and Magic. It was conceivable that the Bulls could start off this season 0-5. I said in one of my preseason videos that I would not be surprised if the Bulls messed around and won a couple of those games, but not a chance would I have thought they would go 3-2 in those first 5 matchups. Not a chance, not after you lost 2 of your best players from last season in DeMar and Alex Caruso. But here we are, the Bulls are 3-2, and they actually have a couple easier games ahead of them with the Nets and Jazz on Friday and Monday, although leave it to the Bulls to flounder and lose those 2 games after having these impressive wins. But yeah, in this game, started out horribly when you thought the Magic were going to wipe the floor of the Bulls. Bulls had a terrible first quarter where they could not stop the ball and were letting the Magic get whatever they wanted. And they let the Magic's great defense suffocate them to where they could not buy a basket themselves. Bulls found themselves down early and down by as many as 20 points in the second quarter. With no Lonzo Ball, who is going to be out for the next 10 days, and then no Jalen Smith, who has been huge for the Bulls as a backup big, you thought, okay, it's over. Just not the Bulls' night tonight, especially going up against a big lineup of the Magic when you're already down one of your few big men as it is. But somehow, the Bulls managed to make a little run to close out the half, bringing it within 10 points, and in the second half, they were focused, they were hungry, and they got hot in a hurry from behind the arc, doing exactly what they did in the game against the Grizzlies. Now, the Bulls didn't take that many threes compared to what we've been seeing this season. They took 34 threes, which would have been a lot a couple years ago when the Bulls were dead last in the league in three-point attempts, but they shot it decently well at 38%. Zach and Vooch weren't efficient from the three-point line, but you know who was? Josh Giddey, a perfect 4 for 4 from 3 and a couple of big threes in the third quarter to get the Bulls back in the lead. And he was all smiles and hyped heading back to the bench after the Magic called timeout on one of his big three-point baskets. Josh Giddey, he looks happy, man. Happy with his role in this team, with the guys that he's playing with, not in his head like he was last season where it seemed like he was second guessing himself all the time when it came to his shooting. Giddey yet again, another double-digit rebound effort I should say, 11 rebounds, 20 points in total to go along with 5 assists, just 1 turnover and a plus 11 on the night. Just a great game, great effort from Giddey. He had some incredible hustle plays on those 50-50 balls late in the fourth quarter to give the Bulls another possession. Like, yes, sometimes Giddey, his play can be frustrating, and he can be a little sloppy at times, but he hustles and he wants this team to win, and more recently has been making winning plays. How about Patrick Williams? Horrible first half for Pat. He was more or less MIA out there and not really engaged. Second half, he turned it on. Hit a couple of back-to-back threes in the third, and then of course had that huge 3 to put the Bulls up and really seal it late in the fourth quarter. But with Pat, I was more impressed with his poise and composure in defending Paolo Banchero tonight, who didn't have that great of a game. Yeah, he scored 31 points, but on 22 shots, 2 for 9 from 3. He had some air balls from deep, 4 turnovers, was a -4. And Pat's defense is what kept him in the game and getting 30 minutes. 10 points and 7 rebounds, only 3 for 8 from the floor, but he was a team high plus 15 on the night for the Bulls. Need to see these games where Patrick Williams is having a positive impact on winning. This is one of the first times we've seen it this season where he didn't get benched to close out the game. Vucevic, 18 points and 14 rebounds against his former team to go along with 5 assists and a steal and a block. Vooch wasn't hitting the 3 ball, he went 0 for 3, but Vooch continues to have a very solid season and thriving in this new system. And then of course, Coby White, who had a great game, putting up 21 points on 8 for 16 shooting, 4 for 10 from 3. Ayo Dosunmu was the big winner for the Bulls off the bench tonight. Ayo really propelled the Bulls back into the game in the second quarter when things started to look like they were getting a little out of control. He was taking the ball coast to coast and pushing the pace in transition to get easy buckets at the rim. 12 points, 6 for 8, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, great hustle and focus on defense as well. I think my biggest qualms about this game is the Bulls missed way too many free throws, especially in the fourth quarter when neither team could score. And yes, even though the Bulls did a great job at getting stops in the fourth where they held the Magic scoreless in the first 7 minutes of the fourth, they could not capitalize on the other end and score themselves to put this team away. Like, when the Magic are shooting the ball that poorly, you have to take advantage and finish them off. Bulls got good looks in the fourth, they just couldn't finish. It was pretty wild that through the first 6 or 7 minutes, neither team had a field goal in the fourth quarter. That could have gotten really ugly for the Bulls if the Magic capitalized on all of those Bulls misses. Also, just have to add this for good measure because I've been riding this for over a year now. Franz Wagner is not a superstar, despite popular belief by a lot of Magic fans. And I can't believe the Magic handed him that 5-year max deal, $224 million. Dude was barely playable in the second half. Unacceptable for your max player. There, I said it. Anyway, it's a good news day. Bulls are 3-2. Bulls are now off until Friday where they will take on the Nets. Of course, guys, as always, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.